is for California campus. But our mission for this campus is to also get posted to a community called Downtown Project. And we need to make sure everybody's subscribed to that, because there your resume and things should be, because that's what we push the Downtown Project employers to look at first when they're hiring. Okay? So Dennis, if you guys want to watch the video,
okay,
we'll be here when you come back.
Okay, we'll be back
okay.
after the video. Okay.
So now for everyone else who's still here, everybody should have their channel. Is there anybody who's still unable? I can't read that from here, Veronica. Are you who? Yeah.
You never finished that part.
Okay, well, all right. So here's an important thing. And this is contrary to being intuitive. Because the intuitive thing is, if you don't know what's going on, you ask the person next to you, right? That's the intuitive thing. But when you have a whole classroom of people, that's not the thing to do, because all that happens is, as the class is moving forward, you get stuck way back here trying to solve that problem. And then you don't know what happened here, 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 and what you basically end up saying is, I missed yesterday's lecture. Now this is what when you're in college and they have lectures, when you're in law school and they have lectures, the thing is, if you don't know what happened here, keep going with the class. Write a note where the wheels fell off the wagon. Try to figure out what's going on, because A, you might figure it out. Something that said here might be, oh, now I got what I didn't do. And I will tell you, yesterday there were at least 18 times I said exactly the same thing, because people were still back here. If they would have said, okay, I don't get that. I know that Phyllis is here. I know that sometime today I'll have time to go and get this part done. I'm just going to take notes. I'm going to try to follow along. If they had gotten to here, maybe by the 15th time I said it, it would have sunk in their brain, oh, that's exactly the same problem I'm having. Okay, this is now the same thing in life. You go to work at a job, it doesn't matter what it is. Good employees don't say to the boss, stop, I didn't get what you said. Now, good employees also don't act like they know what they're doing, and then the boss says, okay, are you ready to go do it? And they say, well, no, I'm still back here. Good employees are people who are used to doing this, and so they can keep up. And it's the same thing when you play sports. So I think everybody knows I played college baseball, and that meant I played baseball when I was 8, 9, 10, 11, all the way from that stage up. And when you're playing, how many other people played organized sports here? Okay. So you know when you played organized sports, when you started, you weren't that good, right? If you started when you were 8, you weren't that good. Now the coach didn't say, okay, well, all team, everybody's going to stop until Eric masters this, right? Because the coach knew, okay, you don't know how to do it right now, just do your best, and if you keep working on it, one day, what? You'll be able to hit the ball if it's bad. One day you'll be able to do it, but it wasn't, okay, everybody has to stop until Eric can hit the ball, because what would not happen? No, nothing would happen, okay? Everything would not happen, okay? The team would lose every game and everybody would quit, okay? Because today it was Eric, tomorrow it's Veronica, Rodney's okay, then we're going to go to Lint, and everybody else is just standing around, okay? So what you learn when you play organized sports is you have to figure out, you have to adapt, you have to muddle through, and you just have to keep doing it till you catch up. So again, you know, the reason we give people composition books is not just for the TED Talks class. This is a book you should have for the rest of your life that brings you back to this. Oh, okay, we did a thing on YouTube videos. I remember I had a problem I don't remember what the problem was. I remember I had a problem. I wrote it down in my book, and the book is the roadmap to get you to, oh, there was a particular YouTube video. I wrote down the title of that video in my book. This is the book that is my personal Bible for success. That's why we have these composition books. They're things that are supposed to be used in the future. And all successful people have a book like that. All successful people have a reference book to go back and get things. Today, more and more people are turning their reference book, their personal reference book, into an electronic thing, as opposed to, here's my book at home that I keep on my bookcase or on my desk, where it's easy to get to. But you know, we should know by now, our brains are not able to remember everything that's ever happened to us. They're not designed to do that. We can't take everything from working memory and put it into long-term memory. If we write it down, many things happen. What's one thing that happens if we write something down, Eric?
Remember, you have a better chance of remembering it.
Why?
Because repetition.
Tie in that word over there.
Oh, connectome.
Because it's building a stronger connectome, right? I have more neural connections associated with that. Every time I say it or write it or read it, I make another copy in my brain. Now, what's another benefit of writing it down in the book?
You always have something to go back to.
There's a place you can go back and get that information quickly. And having Google Drive, having this 15 gigabytes of storage that we can access almost instantaneously helps us create our own personal library of all information for the whole world, right? The book should be a way to help you find things on your drive. Okay, but so, you know, Lisa has brought up a good point that, and again, whenever somebody brings something up here, that's at least 5 other people are thinking the same thing. Lisa deserves the credit because she's the one who had the guts to say it, but it applies to everyone. So you didn't think that you're the only one, Lisa, right? That's back here?
No.
Okay, good, because you're not. What we have to develop here are good habits, and we have to get rid of the bad habits. The biggest challenge adult schools have is people won't let go. They won't let go to who they are and what they believe, to their intuitions, right? From Dan Airley on Monday. We have these intuitions. These nurses have been yanking bandages off for, what did they say, 20 years?
7 years.
Well, for him it was 3 years. But the nurses, however long they were a nurse, they were doing it the same way, probably for generations, because that's what they were told by someone they trusted. They never tested the intuition. Okay, so we have to do that. So the biggest obstacle to moving forward is clinging to the past. We are not built to remember. That's what these books are for. Good employees are the ones who don't stop everything because they don't know. But they are the ones who, on behalf of everyone else, because the boss doesn't want to be there talking to 5 people in a staff meeting and say, okay, we're going to do this, do this, do this. Everybody says, yeah, okay. And then the meeting ends, and the next day nothing changes. And then somebody says to the boss, well, you know what, after you left, the 5 of us got to talking and none of us really understood what you said. That isn't good on several levels. Okay? So you want to be the person that develops the habit of, if you don't know what's going on right now, don't stop, talk to somebody in the middle of a lecture, because chances are I'm going to keep moving forward. And if you're back here and the class ends and we're here, not good. Okay? Not good, because we really don't have time to continue to go back over stuff day after day after day. We don't make progress if we do that. And so that's why on Monday, part of the reason on Monday I said, okay, Thursday, everybody's got to do a video. Now the good news in here is there will be 2 cameras that people can hook up to your PC, or we can get 2 PCs going back there. All you have to do is log in to your YouTube account, or not to your YouTube, to Google+, create a Hangout on Air, and do your thing. Okay? So that's why I said that on Monday, and you know, for after lunch here, people that are not involved, George said he's going to be here today for GED. So after lunch, people who are not doing that, GED, should at least have their thing done. Not the video, but what they're going to say. The best thing to do is to put your little 90-second video up there as if you're talking to the employer that you want a job with. So if Saphira was here, example might be what? 7-Eleven. Okay, might be for 7-Eleven. Why she really wants to work at 7-Eleven. For people who don't have a clue and don't want to spend the time to figure out the company and do research to be able to answer the question, why do you want to work here? What you can do is answer the question, tell me about yourself. And on our YouTube channel under employment planning, or our playlist that is employment planning, there is a video. How many people remember the video of tell me about yourself? Okay, the employment planning guys, or what are they called?
I did that.
The 2 cartoon guys. Okay, they get their tell me about yourself and how you should answer that question of who you are. So that's the second best 90-second video to have. And they really lay it out in terms of first you talk about this, second you talk about that, and third you talk about that. Okay, so does anybody have any questions in California on YouTube that they're confused about?
Sorry.
Are we gonna have to do a video?
Okay, by now everybody should have done 2 things. They should have their channel, your own personal channel, and you should have subscribed to Larson Training Center's channel. Subscribing to our channel gets everybody access to every video we've produced and every video we have produced and the playlists that we have for each of the Google Apps classes that we do. So when you go into an event, the 10 o'clock class, the Google Apps class, and there's a YouTube video, that's on a playlist. So we'll talk about playlists in a second. So Dennis, in California, does everybody have their channel set up?
Yes.
Good. And has everybody subscribed to the Larson Training Center channel?
Check and see.
Okay, now the other thing, Dennis, is you have a channel, I think, or Crystal had a channel, created a channel for medical terminology class?
Correct.
Okay, so everybody who's in that should subscribe to that channel or that playlist. Okay, so now for here, does anybody here have any questions about channels or subscribing to the Larson channel?
How do you subscribe to the Larson channel?
Okay, so afterwards talk to Lisa because we went over that at the beginning. And once you see it, it'll be so obvious. Okay? Now, how many channels can you have? A whole bunch. Okay. A whole bunch, yeah, this many.
100, under 100. No, he did say a number.
Well, I know we set a number of how many people can join a Hangout,
Not a lot.
and how many hang out on air.
About 50. No, 15.
Channels? Okay, well, anyway, it's more than one, right? It's a lot more than one. Why would you have more than one channel? Anybody in California know why would you have more than one channel?
Have different interests, different areas of interest.
Exactly, exactly right. It's the same thing that has to do with Google Plus Circles. You have different channels for different audiences, just like on TV. Here's the Ed Bevilacqua Sports Channel. Not very many things on it. Here's the. So you have different channels for different audiences. You might have a hobby, and you create YouTube videos as part of your hobby. So your hobby's making fish lures. Okay, you might want to have a YouTube channel for that. I have this kind of strange thing I do when I go into the grocery store. I become very amazed because of the Barry Schwartz TED Talk of how many different types of tomato sauce there are. And that's kind of like the other guy too, right? Who's the other guy on tomato sauce? Huh? Who was the guy? Also, Malcolm Gladwell, right? Malcolm Gladwell. So I have this interesting thing on how many different types of tomato sauce there are. And I just get amazed when I look and see how many different sizes and types and styles of tomato sauce there are. And I could have a YouTube channel on the different amounts of how many different tomato sauces there are in each of the different stores. Here's what they have in Whole Foods. Here's what they have down here at the market. Here's what they have at Smith's. Here's what they have at Costco. They wouldn't have that. But so as Joe said, different channels for different audiences, different people. And was it hard for those people who created a channel? Was it hard to create a channel, second channel? Okay, what do you have to do to create a second channel?
Steps.
Okay, but we're putting this down on video for future generations. So we can't say you do the same thing you did before.
So, right.
Okay, let's say you're in YouTube. What do? What's the first thing once you're in YouTube? You want to create a channel. Velvet, what do?
You can create a channel, but not a video.
Inside of what? When you're on your home page on YouTube? On your YouTube homepage? So that's a different one than I know. I'm in YouTube.
YouTube channel? Yeah, go to YouTube.
Larson. I'm on the. This is my personal one with this. Now, we click on the now one. I have to do that somewhere. Okay. So one way is if I'm in my channel. On YouTube, I'm in my channel. One way is if I'm in my channel, if I scroll down on the right, there's a button that says Add Channels. Add Channels. The way I was thinking of, and that way might be easier or just as easy, the way I was thinking of is I go to YouTube, I click on my little icon.
Add account.
No, I go to YouTube settings,
Yes.
and then down here on the bottom, create your account. Okay? Again, tells us something I think very good about YouTube, which is what?
To skin a cat.
No, people die. Yes. There's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to skin a cat in YouTube. There's always many ways to do things. And so my hunch is what they had is they had people on their design team that put this together, that came from the Gmail side of the house. People that came from this other side of the house, and they wanted to make sure that if you were very good at Gmail, you could figure out how to get to that page in YouTube. And so I get at it from settings, because in Gmail, right, settings is a key way to be able to get things done. Go to your settings, you probably figure out how to do it. But the other way might have been from the people who are just pure YouTube people. Okay, I'm in my channel at YouTube. What might I want to do? I might want to create another channel. So everybody should have at least one channel, and for practice, you should create your other channel. And what channels, general categories of channels should there be? Okay, so I always think, let's keep the organization the same. Okay, work, personal, school. Now the school one drops out for a lot of activity, but what you want to do is reach back to your school stuff. You have heard Safira say when she went into her interview, a lot of the stuff that she learned here popped into her head. William Hendricks did the same thing. Everybody that goes to an interview after they've been through here, or they go to work, you remember stuff from here. That's how it is. I mean, that's one of the benefits of coming to a place for 16 weeks. For 520 hours, you do develop habits. So even though in the future you might not be adding stuff to your school channel, you might want to go back and look at that. So for example, that's where you would want to have playlists in that channel. Playlists that have to do with school. Let's say you find a YouTube video that is something that is good, that really you like, that has to do with school, you add it to that school channel, or a playlist that's part of that channel. Okay, so what everybody should have right now is one or more channels. If you only have one, before tomorrow, make sure you have at least 3 channels. Okay? Second thing is everybody should have subscribed to LTC. Now, in California, Dennis, can somebody tell us how you subscribe to the Larson Training Center channel?
Click on manage subscription.
Okay, go ahead. What was that?
How do you subscribe to the Larson Training Center channel?
Anybody?
I haven't
Click
done it.
manage
I haven't done it yet.
subscriptions.
Do it.
What?
The student said manage subscriptions.
Okay. Well, that's probably a way to do it. We can go do that. The easiest, the way I was thinking of, the easiest way is to do what? What's another way? Huh?
Add to it.
Okay, so one thing, as Rodney said, is you go, you're in YouTube, you're on your home page, you type in the Omnibar Larson Training Centers. What happens next?
So many things
You'll
can
see a
down.
list of the videos, then what? Click on one video, then what? Okay, so if you do it that way, when you run a video, and this goes for YouTube across the board, this is probably the easiest way to subscribe to a channel, is you are watching a video, and there's a button below the lower left-hand side of the video in red that says what, Moses? It says subscribe. YouTube wants to make it easy for people to subscribe because there's a thing called the Metcalfe principle. And for everyone here, that's in the beginning front of your book, right? Under diagrams, do you have that, Tim? Does anybody have something that looks like something like that on your page that has the diagrams at the front of your book? Yeah, Metcalfe principle. You didn't write it in your book? Do you have in the front of your book a thing of diagrams that have a dice? Okay, so when you guys were given your books, weren't you given a thing that said copy this?
No, I wasn't.
How many people were?
I don't remember that. I don't have that book with me right now, but I don't remember that diagram.
Well, if you copied the book, it was in there. But if you don't review it, you're not going to remember.
Oh, of course.
So there was a guy named Robert Metcalfe who worked at Xerox PARC, which was the Xerox Research Center, Palo Alto Research Center. It was Xerox's think tank, and for a period of time, Xerox was like the leading technology company. Okay? So Robert Metcalfe came up with the principle. It's just like, has anybody ever heard of Moore's Law? Okay, so this is not like Moore's Law, but it's a principle, just like Moore's Law is a principle, right? And this is very important, which is why it should be in your book. If it's not in your book, write it now. It's V equals N squared. This is a simple formulation. So what Robert Metcalfe said is, what's the value of a network? Okay, what's a network? A network could be, you're a cable company and you want to know how many nodes, how many subscribers do I have to my network? What's the value of a network? And now, because most things today is a network, your social media network, right? How many people do I have that like me? Okay, how many subscribers do I have? How many friends do I have? So Robert Metcalfe thought about that and ultimately came up with a formula to tell you what a thing is worth. And it applies to huge numbers of things. If you want to go in business and open more than one store, how many stores do you need to have? What's the value? What's the value of Starbucks if they have 10,000 stores versus 11,000 stores, or one store versus two? That's what the Metcalfe principle addresses. And it says the value of a network is equal to the square of the number of nodes. Okay, what's a node?
Like a contact, a bump. Or contact.
Okay, so it would be a subscriber. If you're a magazine, if you are a cable TV company, what would a node be?
Person.
A subscriber, customer, could be customers. Those are nodes. If you're a barber shop, what's a node? Huh? No, it's the number of regular customers you have. Not the number of customers, but the number of regular customers that you have. So it says, well, what's the value of a barber shop? You want to sell your barber shop, what's the value of your barber shop? And the value has to do with the number of regular customers you have. If your business doesn't have repeat business, you have 1,000 customers a month, all new every month, is that the same value as if you had 1,000 customers that come back every month? Which one is worth it? Okay, so you're Trattoria Reggiano, you're in the Venetian. You have 1,000 customers, you do 100 dinners a night. 10% of them are people that are repeat, that have been there before. You're the Italian American Club, you do 100 dinners a night, 90% of them are people that have eaten there before. Which restaurant has more value? Now, let's say that everything else is the same. The check amount is the same. Yeah, the Italian American Club is because it's repeat business. And if you have a customer, a repeat customer, generally you have to do more to lose a customer. Once you have a customer, that has value because they're going to keep coming back unless something bad happens. And Ray Boyer talked about that yesterday, right? People usually will put up with things they don't like until they get to the point where it's intolerable, right? So, value equals the square of the number of nodes. Now it's the value of one node. So let's say a customer gets his hair cut 10 times a year and he pays $20. How much is that? $200. Okay. Now this number could be reduced. You could say, well, let's take out this and that. But let's just say it's $200. So this formula would be the value equals x. So that really, I think in the books it says x times n squared. So how many people do you have that come in every month? Say you have 100 times 200 squared. Now how do we do that in PEMDAS? Huh? Well, do we multiply this? This?
Multiply the first number by the bracket and square.
That's 200 squared.
200 squared times, is the number going to be different?
Yes.
Right, okay. So 200 squared times 100 is different than 100 times 200 squared, right? I mean, that should be obvious. Okay, so the Metcalfe principle says the value of your barbershop equals that. Let's say this is 50 people. Do you think that number is half? The value is half? If you have half as many customers? You think it's half?
What is this, 15?
It's not half. Okay, so let's say, what is 2 squared? Okay, that equals 4, right? And let's say it's times 2 equals 8, right? Now let's just double that. Say it's 4 squared. 16 times 2 is 32. It's not, this isn't half of that. It's 1/4. And the more you get, the bigger the difference is. So let's say it's 8 times 2. Okay? I went from 2 customers to 8. I got 6 more customers, but this thing is 16 times more. Well, it's, I don't know what that is. 18. 18 times more. No, 16 times more value. I got 6 more customers, but it's worth 16 times more. Why isn't it 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8? Why isn't it, okay, that's 2. If I go to 4, why isn't it 8 plus 8? Why isn't it, if I go to 8, why isn't it 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8? Why isn't it that way? Okay, because that's what the Metcalfe principle showed. Because other people thought, well, if 2 customers' value is 8, 4 customers' value must be 16. But it's not. So this becomes very important because YouTube, you're creating your own personal network. Right, there we go. Your own personal network.
Oh, I thought you were looking for the word yourself.
I was looking for an answer. I got to make sure when people are doing this, I have to make sure they're not falling asleep, that they're thinking. So, so your YouTube channel is your personal network, your video network. Getting nodes on this network is very important. What does it take to get nodes on the network? One thing is compelling content. But the reason it goes like this, the reason value goes like that, not like that, is because when you have a network and you have nodes, you start getting this. Okay? People start communicating with people, and that's what creates buzz. That's how things go viral, right? You put something out there, Brett, and it's compelling to Brett. What does he do? In 0.68 seconds, he sends it to everybody in his circle, right? And then other morons do the same. I mean, other people do the same thing, right? Now, what did Seth Godin say you need to do in the tribes we lead?
Gotcha.
Well, that's David Logan. Find the people who believe what you believe, because they're going to do this. They're going to reach out to people who believe what they believe. And then your network is going to get a lot larger. And so do you think you have more value? Come in. Do you think you have more value if you have more nodes on your network? Absolutely. YouTube is the best way to expand your network because we are conditioned to watch TV. How many hours of TV does the average American watch per day? Like 8 hours, 6 or 8 hours. We get conditioned to watch TV because it's easy and we don't really have to think. It's just information in and it goes out. You don't have to remember it. If you want to read, it's much harder to read for 6 hours than it is to watch TV for 6 hours, right? And if you're watching TV and you start thinking about something else, what happens? Well, the show keeps going, right? Let's say you're reading and your mind goes on to something else. What happens? Yeah, you stop. Okay, you don't all of a sudden say, wow, how did I get 20 pages further down the line? Okay, well, that's because you're in the zone. Okay? So, YouTube is a great way to do things because people latch onto sound bites or video bites. They don't have to remember the whole thing. There's just something they saw they liked, boom, I'm going to share it, or I'm going to subscribe to it, or I'm going to do whatever. And if you could go to an employer, let's say you're in the truck driving business, you're a delivery guy, and you could go to a prospective employer and he says, well, why should I hire you? Well, I have my license, I'm legal, I'm this, I have years of experience. And the guy's thinking, well, so do the other 28 guys who want this job. Why should I hire you? If you say, because I can bring you customers, I used to work for Hetza, and I have these people. Here's what I did there. I had my circle with them. I kept them informed. I have these guys. And I'm pretty sure I can get those guys to become customers too because they believe in me. What do people that are barbers or beauty salon people always do? They take their clients with them. And when they go to work for another place, what do they always say? Why you should take me? Yeah, I've got people that follow me. Do you think yoga instructors do the same thing? Absolutely. This is a great way, your YouTube channel is a great way to build your customer or your network, the number of nodes on your network. But the thing to think about or to remember is the Metcalfe principle. Value equals the number of nodes squared. It's the value of a node times the number of nodes squared. Okay, now let's talk about playlists. What's a playlist compared to a channel versus a channel? What, Rodney?
You want to hear?
things that you have.
Okay. What did you say? Save channels? Well, a playlist is inside a channel, and it's a collection of stuff. So if it's like a CD, it's here's the music on the CD. So how many playlists should you have?
Variety of. Yeah.
As many as you need. I have a separate playlist for every module in our Google Apps class. There's a playlist for Gmail, a playlist for Chrome, a playlist for Drive, a playlist for each one of these. And when you subscribe to our channel, you have access to all of those videos. So whatever hobby you have or whatever you want to do for business, you should create a playlist. For work, in your work channel, you should create a playlist for the prospective employers on your employment planning thing. Your proactive employment plan is, if you want to get a job at Hetza, guess what you should have as a playlist on your channel, your work channel. A playlist for Hetza. If you want to work at Downtown Project, you should have a playlist called Downtown Project, and that should be full of videos of who? Me. No, Tony Shea. Tony Shea. Okay? Because if you know what Tony Shea believes, and you're in an interview with the Downtown Project company, and you can repeat what Tony Shea knows, what is likely to happen? No, people don't die. You said people die. Huh? Oh, you get hired. I thought you said people die. No. So what happens is, if you are saying things that they believe, because they're there because they're drinking the Kool-Aid. They said those things. They want other people to be saying those things. If you say those things, they think he's part of our what? Our tribe, right. Okay, they think he's part of our tribe. We got to get him on board, right? So, let's see, we've got another minute. Questions in California?
Any questions?
Okay, how do you create, who knows how to create a playlist? Okay, how do we create a playlist? Okay, so again, there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? In Google. So let's go through here. Let's say I'm watching a video.
Just speak like we're watching a video.
If I'm watching a video, one way to create a playlist is, oh, I like this video. Down below the subscribe button, there are 3 choices. Add to, share, and then more. If I click on Add to, it comes up with a couple playlists automatically. Watch later. I don't know if the other one's on. At least one. And then it says Create New Playlist. So what do you click? Create New Playlist. You type in the name of the new playlist, and you add it to that playlist. That's the easiest way to do it.
So
Now, if you subscribe, what does that mean? I can subscribe instead of playlist.
Subscribe more.
Right. Yeah, that means when they do something, I find out about it. Yeah. So that's how I create. That's how easy it is to create a playlist. And what you want to do, again, under the measure twice, cut once, is you should be thinking beforehand and use your book to diagram your playlists in your channel. So I have my work channel. I have a playlist that's called, say, research. And then I have, a playlist for Hetza, whatever the company is. Acme, widgets. Okay, I create the playlists, and then as I'm, instead of watching TV or something, instead of doing nothing, I go to YouTube and I say, okay, I'm going to start adding stuff to my Hetza Petza playlist. How do I do that? Lisa, how would I do that? How would I add stuff to my Hetza Petza playlist?
If I was on a Hetza Petza video.
No, I'm sitting at home. I say I want to add Hetza Petza videos.
I would go to my video from Hetza Petza, and then I would.
Okay, but you don't have one yet. Okay, so how do I find a video on YouTube?
Search.
Yeah, I type in the Omnibus, that's the Petza, up above, right? And then what happens? A whole bunch, if there's anything, of the Hetza Petza videos show up. I click on one, it starts playing, and then what do I do?
And I go to-
I click Add To,
Yes.
and I add it to my Hetza Petza list. In other words, you don't have to wait till you need the playlist to create a playlist. You can have 10 playlists that are all empty, and you can go back later and fill them up with stuff. We watch a video in here that you like. It'd be a TED Talk. You watch a video in here that you like. Open up the video, add it to your TED Talk playlist. Okay, so that's it. That's it for the end of the day. And so tomorrow, the focus, everyone in California, is to create a personal video that's not more than 90 seconds that is either answers the question to a particular employer, why should we hire you? So you're selling yourself, or create a video answering the question of what? Tell me about yourself. And you should watch the video from the HR guys. Is that what they're called? I think they're called the HR guys. Yes,
Okay,
Dennis?
so you want all the students here to create one as well?
Yeah, I think everybody should, Dennis.
Okay.
And if you do that tomorrow, if tomorrow's class is just doing that, how many cameras do you have there? 2 or 3, 4?
Yeah, we've got a few, maybe 3 or 4.
Okay. So within 50 minutes with 3 cameras, everybody should be able to create a 90-second video if they spent the time while they're waiting to get the camera, if they spent the time with an outline or just typing out what they want to say. One of the big benefits of this will be you'll get to see what you look like to someone else. And you just practice until you like it. That's what actors do. They rehearse. They don't call it practice, they call it rehearsing. Okay, so any questions from people here in Nevada? Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.
Wow. All right.
Bye, Joe.